Welcome to Last Orders, the podcast about the podcast. We are going to talk with some of the players from the recent episode of the Crowded Tavern, more specifically, episode 6, The Trouble with Goblins. With me today I have my trusted friend and ally, Amanda. Say hi, Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
And we also have two guests with us, as per usual. We have Rik, aka Ali.
Hello, hello, hello.
And Danny, aka Auburn.
Hiya.
Hello. And we had quite the episode with quite a bit of combat, which I think was about time, because we had 2 episodes prior to this without combat. So here we are. We are back. we fought stuff. We did some of the things you do in D&D. But before we jump into that, how's everyone doing today?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad. I've had a very stressful week. And I'm glad that it's the weekend. I was supposed to be in Plymouth this weekend, and I was supposed to be on a coach right now, but all of that got cancelled because people weren't feeling great. So whilst it sucks that I'm not seeing people, I'm also glad just to be relaxing and having a nice, relaxed week. Yes.
Awesome.
Nice. I'm also having a relaxing weekend. I was sick, very sick, for like a week, and I am not recovered yet. I'm just exhausted.
Oh, really?
And like so tired. And I'm also think like maybe I burned out a little bit. So I've like spent my entire week like reevaluating my priorities. And now this weekend I'm like, I'm doing nothing except for sitting on my butt reading because I can't go anywhere because I sprained my ankle. So I can't actually go anywhere. So sitting on my butt reading, maybe play some games, maybe record some podcasts with yous.
How did you sprain your ankle?
I face planted on Tottenham Court Road.
Oh, yeah, of course. I forgot about that. I forgot about that.
Yep.
Oh, dear.
Thanks for making me make that very public.
I mean, you face planted in Tottenham Court Road. It was very public.
But nobody seems to have caught it. I didn't find a clip on TikTok, so it was under wraps. Like it was only me and the 100 people that saw.
It's there somewhere.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah. If anyone's listening, if you could scour TikTok and try and find someone face planting on Tottenham Court Road. What was the day?
Nope.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I can totally feel it. I've been tired this whole week as well. I think it also might have something to do with the time of the year. Just not enough sun, just out of energy. So yeah. All right.
Danny, how are you, Danny?
How are you, Danny?
I'm just fine. Nothing special here.
Just fine. Just Danny. Just chill. Love it.
The reason that Danny is not tired and just loves life is because he don't have any social media platforms that he's checking every day. I think that is the conclusion, right?
That's true.
Honestly, I literally tweeted out this week that I'm sick of Twitter. My Twitter is just people arguing with each other. People like subtweeting nasty things about other people telling people what to do with their lives, and like literally over 50% of that isn't even from accounts I follow, because Twitter has started an algorithm where it's just putting random accounts on your feed now, so you see stuff that you don't follow. So usually my tactic of telling people like, well, your social media accounts are like completely in your control. You see what you curate, right? So if you don't want to see that, just get rid of it. That's not actually a thing anymore, at least on Twitter, because I just see things that I don't want to see. So
it's the same on Instagram.
Yeah. It's not fun.
What do you do on the internet, Danny?
I play games.
Okay.
Yeah. How do you do this internet without the social media part?
I don't know. I use Facebook, but I only use it to send memes and schedule D&D.
Do you actually use Facebook, or do you just use Messenger?
I use Messenger.
Yeah, there we go.
It's like, no, not even Facebook, no.
Yeah, my Facebook is now what I use to figure out LARP and some D&D, and that's it. That's literally what I use Facebook for. So.
All right. What did we actually do in the episode?
Why can you never remember?
I don't know.
We had like a
the
nice
DM
little
here.
conversation after meeting Wartam.
You did have a conversation
There was a conversation.
about meeting Wartham. He's your new best friend, right?
He's someone's new best friend.
Maybe.
The end of the episode is anything to go by. He is someone's new best friend. Yes.
True.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Wonder why that is. But yeah, you did have a post Wartham conversation where I guess don't really trust that guy, I guess.
Funny that. Funny.
I wonder why. He seems so trustworthy.
Yeah. No, not a fan. Not a fan of Wartam. Mainly because it sounds like I'm saying my own goddamn name every time I say his name, which is still really confusing to me. But no, not a fan of him. Not a fan of him showing up, being creepy and then leaving. I'm not entirely sure. There was I don't know how long the conversation went on for. I can't quite remember. But there was a mini conversation of where we were like questioning his actual power, and I didn't like that one bit. And we were like talking about whether or not he's actually powerful, if he was just like, playing bravado because he knows that we don't know anything about him. And Arlene didn't really care too much, but I didn't like that conversation at all because I was like, this is not what we should be doing when meeting clearly quite a shady, potentially very powerful entity for that time. It's just being like, he's not powerful, he's just bluffing. Didn't like that conversation.
He's not gonna show us how powerful he is.
No,
at all.
no, he's not going to make balloon animals with my intestines. It's fine. It's all good. It's no problem whatsoever. So yeah, not a fan. But I think we came to a conclusion, which is keep him at arm's bay and just do what we were planning on doing. So I'm happy. I'm happy with that.
And that's totally why you put Benjamin in our tent, right? Because of his connection with Wartham.
It's the only reason.
No other reason.
We really didn't want Jake to be there this time.
No. Yeah, Jake was completely available for the episode, but we said no.
Yeah.
We'd had enough. Benjamin.
We need a break from the child, okay?
Enough is enough.
We're not babysitters.
Speaking of people that you completely and 100% loves, Thrak also had a quick appearance just because you needed to park Benjamin somewhere. And once again, a little insight is that Thrak once again rolled exceptionally low on his insight check. And it's sort of just becoming him. That's just a character thing now. I don't even think I need to roll for him anymore because apparently inside checks doesn't work for him.
No.
I feel like he's just sick of our bullshit and is just going to, you know what? I don't care. Do whatever you gotta do.
Yeah, because he wants to control the adventurers, but he definitely can't control them.
It's just when we find out that we think we're in control, but the entire camp is like, who the fuck are those 5 assholes running around when our leader is like standing right there actually sorting everything out?
They're just gonna be like, Thrak was here the whole time. You guys were always away.
Which is fair, to be honest. Whenever around where they seem to need us. Also, how did we only just figure out there's a pregnant woman on this entire excavation?
Oh my god, I forgot about the pregnant woman.
We did shuffle away from her quite quickly because we almost gave up Wartam. But
that was hilarious.
I don't quite understand how that happened or why that was allowed. And don't get me wrong, I know they're civilians, and I'm not saying that pregnant women shouldn't be allowed to do things. But throwing a pregnant woman through a portal to another world doesn't seem like the correct course of action.
It really doesn't.
Well, my personal view of the IAC is that they're set up to be like this huge, very professional company, but they're definitely not. Things keep going wrong.
Absolutely just winging it.
A child snuck through. They hired Auburn to be the security.
I'm so happy that because that is sort of how I imagined them being in setting it all up, and I'm happy that it's shining through.
Oh, it is. Like, this is fucked up.
So
And I know you said that like it's for civilians and whatnot, but I am reminded of the first episode of how we actually got into the situation, which is we were funneled into channels and literally shoved through a portal. And now I'm imagining that there was a pregnant woman in the chaos of all of that as well.
Yeah, you have to remember that there were also civilians, and the civilians were in those buses. So she were definitely
that's fair,
the people who were being shoved through were personnel, because you know you can do that to personnel, you can't do that to civilians.
Personnel and Benjamin.
Benjamin was on a bus.
Yeah, he was on the bus.
I was in a bus.
He was
Oh,
hiding.
Yeah. He snuck onto a bus. That's how Auburn didn't see him.
Right.
No.
Right. Good job, Auburn. Well done. Really keeping this together.
I'm security.
It's really that meme of Ralph Wiggum on the back of the bus.
Yeah. I don't know. I wanted to say something, but I completely forgot it now. All right.
Clearly, Auburn was the right choice. Guys. Otherwise, the story couldn't happen.
Yeah.
That's true.
Oh yeah, the pregnant woman. It was actually something that I had in my mind at least planned for to just you guys meeting her a little bit earlier in the story, but just things happened. It's D&D. Players do shit, and we never really got around. It didn't really fit in anywhere else. So I thought now would be a good time to just because now I could use it to actually show that sure you have your guide back, but it's not everyone that has their access restored. So I thought it would fit quite well with that. So.
Which is weird because we did ask Wartime for everyone's guide back. Yeah. And from at least the understanding I got, he agreed to that to some extent. And
everyone that spoke to him got their powers back, right?
But Neza spoke to him too.
Yeah, she has access to her guide in the way that she has access to her guide. Okay.
It's true.
Well,
not everyone, not all of them can speak. Thank God, more DM work to do.
Also, Auburn's thing was more him just learning to do better. He didn't actually get some form of power back. Just got better.
Yeah.
I did like the mini Auburn training montage scene with Mulan's "Let's get down to business" playing in the background. That's how I saw it playing out in my head.
Exactly.
Marty, can you please put that music? I don't care that you've already edited the episode. Make this change.
He struggles at first, but then he loses the respect of the others, but then he gains it back.
I don't know about that.
Well, I don't know. Have you seen Auburn in that battle?
But that's not Auburn.
Oh, it is. It's just the other part of Auburn.
Which is still a bit odd. I'm not entirely sure how to... Give me a second, sorry. Someone's knocking at my door. I'm really sorry.
It's fine.
It's the postman.
I've got Mulan in my head now. Maybe it's her neighbor inviting them over for murder tea.
That's just a thing now. Murder tea.
Murder tea. Yeah.
Tell him to go away, Rik.
This conversation is entirely too long.
There he comes.
Woo!
Was it Amanda's neighbor?
Murder tea?
Yeah. Invited to Ireland for some tea. No, I have a neighbor. I have a family who live next door, and it's like a couple and their 2 kids. And one of the kids knocked on my door and said they've been trying to knock on their door to get into their house, but no one's answering the door, and they were like scared, a bit worried. They're like 9 years old. So I knocked on the door, and the parents answered immediately. And I was like, "Here's your child." And that was that. So that was very odd. I don't really know what that was about. But the kids seemed really distressed, like really quite worried. So I don't know if they were just not knocking hard enough or something. I don't know. But anyway.
You did your good deed for today.
I did. I can be an absolute asshole for the rest of the day now.
Yeah, that's it.
During the summers here in Copenhagen, we have a big backyard to the apartments, and the kids play out there, and then they shout at their parents to let them in. And sometimes the parents don't hear them, and then they get distressed.
Just stuck outside. I mean, fair, to be honest.
So, after a while, you then decided to go and meet up with the goblins, and you went back to the clearing, and you had a little sit and wait. So, what were your thoughts at this point when nobody showed up?
I mean, at first I thought potentially something could have gone wrong. But also I'm learning not to kind of care too much about what's happening in this world. Not care too much, that's incorrect, because that makes it sound like I'm not caring about the game, which I am a lot. But like, things go weird all the time, and I'm trying to learn to roll with that a little bit. So I was like, we can wait, we can hang. Like, I'm not going to try and force anything here. But I think I was quite eager to use my spells after you gave me some of my spells back. So I wasted some spell slots trying to keep us silent for literally no reason whatsoever. So that was great. But outside of that, yeah, I was just like, you know what, I'm rolling with this. Yeah, no, they work, yeah, which is great. Just need to time them a little bit better. I was a couple of hours out. But yeah, no, I was just like, you know what, I'm just going to let what happens here. I don't think I was super eager to go looking for trouble either, given, you know, we had the conversation about whether or not we want to take the mag cans. The mag cans now have several dead bodies on them, which is something that we're just kind of ignoring, which is probably fine. I was just like, I'm just going to let what happens here. I'm not going to try and go out for potential danger. Which is essentially what we ended up doing. But, you know, I tried my best.
You know, that part about the bodies was really strange for me to roleplay Auburn, because I was like, Auburn wouldn't do this. But then again, Auburn has been hanging around this necromancer owl for a while, and he knows that he's using these dead bodies. So he knows it's not for some, you know, sick purpose.
Well, what's your definition of sick?
But still, it's not just something you do, just shoving bodies into something.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, that. What would Auburn be doing here? And I didn't want to be just like, no, don't do that. Well, no one was stopping us.
I just love how, you know, just a day, a session that just started out, you know, pretty quietly, and all of a sudden we're talking about shoving dead bodies into a portable hole, and I just don't know how that escalated so quickly.
Well, my reasoning was also that, well, we left the bodies there, so clearly we don't really care that much about them.
That's true. They weren't buried. I feel like maybe the people would have buried them.
Maybe.
Because they probably started to smell like flies and shit.
Well, they were too busy, apparently.
The only bodies we cared about were the spider bodies, and that was because we almost came to the conclusion of burning the entire forest down to stop them from reanimating.
I mean, I'm still not opposed to that. just saying. I feel like when Strix was like, let's get the bodies. Nessa was just like, I don't care what you do. We're going to meet, or we're going to see the goblins. Just do what you got to do. I'm focused on this other task at hand.
Yeah, because there was a little bit of arguing, I felt like, between Strix and Nessa, and yeah, the what's it called, the Mac cans, already before you left out. You left the camp, so kind of interesting to see when then the dead bodies situation came up.
I mean, she understands, science, magic. He's got to do what he's got to do. She was like, just don't take my magic. It's fine.
We aren't gonna have any Mac cans left.
Yeah, I think we're long past like, oh, it's science and magic, it's fine, to Strix potentially having a serious addiction problem. And no one's really doing anything about it. So
I mean, I'm trying.
Are you?
Kind of.
Yeah. My biggest takeaway from this episode, one of the biggest takeaways from this episode was I'm a little actually concerned about how unhinged Strix genuinely is when it comes to magic. Because I don't think it's... At first I thought it was, he likes magic. And now I'm like, oh, fuck, shit, he really likes magic. And we're like walking into areas to try and get these mag cans that I don't think are going to be used for the purpose that he wants to use. Well, we want to use them for. I think he has a very different idea of what they could be used for.
Yeah, he's definitely going to beg every time there's something. He's gonna argue that he has to use the mag can.
Also, something that was never spoken about, really, and I don't know if it's too late to bring it up, is we said nothing about him literally stealing all the spell stones and then using them for his own ritual.
I don't think many of us saw him do it.
I don't think so, because he took them all while you were not there, and he didn't. When that ritual happened, he didn't, train them on purpose. He was just so, what's it called? Not frustrated. He was. He just needed to make something happen. So he just pulled from every source that he could, and so he drained them by mistake, basically. Okay. But they were still in his possession, so I don't think he necessarily knew that he had them, if I remember correctly.
Okay. Still don't know if I trust it, but sure. Yeah.
I mean, that's fair. Then Or arrived, kind of a little bit upset. Things that had actually been happening. Some things had gone wrong, and that were probably most likely why they were a little bit late. And you just, without any hesitation, just followed her.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any thoughts about that? Any thoughts about that?
Well, I thought about having Auburn object, but Auburn's pretty much just does whatever Nessa wants to do when she wants to do something. He's not going to argue, he's just going to do it.
The way it should be.
Yeah, I think there was clearly something up, right? There was clearly something going on. And given, from Arlene's perspective, given that when I first saw Neza and Or interacting, like, Or was clearly quite suspicious and quite concerned, kind of thing. So seeing Or kind of throw caution to the wind because she was clearly scared about something or anxious or upset about something meant that I was kind of like, okay, there's a level of trust just be had implicitly here because she's upset, and she's not upset. The word I'm looking for is
panicked.
Distressed.
Kind of, yeah, distressed. That's kind of, yeah, distressed. And if she in that moment trusts us enough, then it's only kind of fair to return that trust. Was my kind of take on it anyway.
No, I mean, I really liked that you did that because some players most definitely have been like, hey, what's going on? I don't quite trust the situation, So I was happy that we didn't have to do too much push and pull just in that situation because sort of just wanted to progress the story as well. So, and yeah, she's apparently a pretty good tracker. Auburn had difficulty keeping up, according to the dice. So she brought you to the cave, where you then ran into these twisted versions of goblins.
Yeah, what was that about? They had one eye. That freaked me out. I didn't like that.
Well, it was weird. I'm like, these are not goblins.
Not anymore.
Is that confirmed?
Yeah.
They're definitely not goblins. Because one of the questions I had was, can we save them? Which we didn't really figure out. We just started murdering them.
I mean, that's too late to figure out, isn't it? If your kids killed them.
I mean, we can always bring them back to life.
Look, it's your family. Go and give him a hug.
A really gross hug. Well, that being said, though, something that we didn't have a chance to properly explore, and is still concerning me, is that we detected necromantic magic on these things, but Wartam specifically said that necromancy was new to him.
Yeah, I actually spoke to Adam about it because I was afraid that I had made a small mistake. But no, I think it's not necromancy, but it's necrotic magic. So it's just a type of damage that is not necessarily necromancy.
Right, okay. That may have been my misunderstanding. That makes a bit more sense. I was a little bit scared because I was like, if this is like necromancy and Wartime didn't think that necromancy was here, then that opens up a whole new can of worms as what could potentially be changing them.
Yeah, because I did make a mental note of it when you said it, because I was like, did I make a mistake here?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's two different things. So, I mean, it's sort of like in the same school area, but you can still do necrotic damage without being a necromancer, I guess.
I'm really interested in what actually did it to them, because I don't think it was Wharton.
Why? I'm intrigued as to why you think that.
Why would he do that? It happened before we even arrived.
Because he literally said to us he was bored.
Well, true. It might be him, but I think. Oh, you might be right. You might. Be
No.
right.
Let us hear your thoughts. I want to hear these thoughts. It's fun.
Well, clearly there are other forces at work also in this world than Wharton. There's the dragon. I don't think Wharton can do anything about the dragon. And he doesn't know everything that happens in the world. He didn't know about the mad cans. He didn't know about the necromancy and such. So he doesn't know everything.
These are true. These are true facts. I still think it's him. Because I don't trust him as far as I can throw him.
I don't think it was him. I don't know who. I don't have like a secondary suspicion, but I don't think it was Wardham either.
I think he would have been playing around with monsters way more if he was bored like that.
I think so. Or Marty, remind me exactly what Or said in terms of these things. She said that they returned from somewhere and they were different. They had changed.
They disappeared and they changed.
And it was like a whole village of them, right? Not like just a couple of them. It was like a whole.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we went into specific numbers, except that she said some of them were her friends, or old friends, and they had disappeared. But yeah, it seems like it was like a larger chunk that had disappeared.
And they were gone for a while as well. They were gone for like a month or something, and then when they returned,
I don't remember how long I said.
Okay,
I think you said a week or so.
Maybe I just added time. I think, yeah. Okay.
They might have been gone for a week, and I think it happened a month ago.
That was it. Yeah, sorry,
like
that was right. Yeah,
I think that's
And now they were evil and taking other goblins.
Yeah. They turned bad. They had changed, so they had physically changed. But I kept it specifically vague because I also sort of... I'm feeling like these goblins are also sort of tribal and don't necessarily has an evolved language as you guys have. So that's also when I'm trying to not use too many words when I'm playing her in your mind, just because I don't think that they necessarily have words for everything yet. So
Yeah.
They're like Stone Age goblins.
yeah, basically. So they had changed. It was what I said, but yeah, it was the physical change that you saw when you then met them, and when they all of a sudden had claws and twisted into only having one eye and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think obviously like we had to deal with the immediate threat, and that's where the last session ended. But I would like to spend some time trying to figure out what they are. Now that we've kind of maybe, I don't know, we haven't explored the rest of the cave yet. There could be like 100 of them around the corner.
God, I hope not.
Yeah. But I have concerns, and I would like to investigate.
We also only found one goblin so far.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
So there should be more survivors down there, in theory.
hopefully.
Hopefully.
Unless they're also being changed.
Yeah, that would not be nice.
No. Also, the wolves seem to be okay with them,
The wolves?
which is interesting. Yeah, because they had wolves with them, which you mentioned hadn't been changed. Because for some reason, I can't remember why, I was under the impression they were a bit gribbly as well, but they weren't. So the natural kind of non-touched wolves seem to be fine with them and not kind of put off by them, which is interesting.
True.
Yeah. I mean, they have wolves. It definitely has nothing to do with me. I'm wanting to have a few different kinds of mobs in there.
See, this is what you have to understand, that as a player, I'm going to look into every possible thing that you put in front of me and make it a reason as to why.
It has meaning. It must.
Obviously, it must have meaning.
Well, now it does have a meaning. I just need to figure it out.
They're the case of the villains who are actually nice to animals, but not to humanoids.
No. They prefer animals, just like me. I like cats. So,
Me too.
I like cats too.
Don't we all?
yeah.
Wait, Danny, do you have a cat?
I want a cat, but I don't have a cat. I can't have pets where I live.
They don't know. Just get one.
It won't be as good for it because it can't get out, and it's the city. I'd like to have.
Yeah, Gambit's an indoor cat, so he doesn't go out. Because I'm very much the same. I'm in the middle of the city, so I don't want to let him out. But he seems happy.
If there's enough to do inside, cats are happy inside. And it's the norm in North America, indoor cats.
Yeah, well, you see, this place where I live is very cheap compared to how large my apartment is and where I live, because it's not modernized. So any reason they can find to kick you out, they will.
That's fair.
You're playing too much D&D. Get out!
Is there such a thing? There is no such thing.
Absolutely no such thing. It's too much D&D.
You play too little then. Get out!
Reasons.
Right.
Also, I was really happy for my own character having the moment where he had to cross the line and actually kill something.
Did he actually get a kill? Because I don't remember.
He got like 3 kills.
3 kills.
Yeah.
There we go. Because I think Nessa went down fairly early on, got brought back up, and then all went down.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And then all went down specifically because of a mob that Auburn could have killed but chose not to.
Yes.
And
I was constantly targeting the mobs that weren't badly hurt, of course.
Nope.
And then this one was left, and then Or runs up to it and gets beat down. And then Auburn just, but that was my fault. I could have killed it.
yeah,
And then she wouldn't have gotten hurt. And then the reason he actually started killing was because Nessa went down inside the cave, and he just saw red. So it wasn't so much that if Nessa hadn't gone down, maybe he still wouldn't have killed. But seeing her go down, he just realized in his form that he has to kill in order to protect his friends. So that's going to be really fun when he comes down from.
I was about to
From
say
the
that.
Fun
shifted.
unpacking that
It
one.
will be, because that will basically happen right when we begin. And potentially, I think we might have a little bit of a Benjamin things happening first, but yeah, because it's only lasts a minute, right?
Yeah, he's only shifted for 1 minute whenever he shifts.
So in 40 seconds, something like that, 30 seconds from now.
Well, the dice were really good at telling the story then, because he was just critting and then crit failing and just going on a full-on rampage. And I figured it would be like, because even though deer are skittish, when they get angry, they are really dangerous. So I just figured his animal instinct took over and he just started killing.
I absolutely could see it happen. Like, I saw that shift, and Auburn was just like, no, fuck this, fuck these guys. They're all going down. I'm going to take out every single one of them.
How often?
It was
I would have loved to help,
really
but
cool.
my dice said no. So
Yeah, I don't know what that was all about, because every time I had to roll for an attack for Or, it was horribly bad rolls, and every time I needed to roll like a saving throw, it rolled exceptionally high. So I don't really know. Maybe it's just, again, the dice is telling some kind of underlying story that we maybe should pay attention to.
the story is that you can give everything. You could give Arlene every spell with unlimited spell slots, and I'd still be fucking useless. I think that's what the story is.
No.
What the story is. I think I could cast Wish, and it would go badly somehow. So,
Universe says no.
yeah. God intervenes, and nothing happens. Sorry.
It's really, really hard for Auburn to miss anything because his modifiers are huge, especially when he uses his bow. He gets plus 10 to hit with the bow and plus 8 to hit with his swords.
Yeah, and I mean,
But it's
on these
it's
monsters,
basically all he can do. He's a fighter. He's supposed to just hit things.
Yeah, because I mean, with these mobs, these monsters that we were fighting, you just needed to hit a plus 10. Yeah, you just needed to hit a 5 on the die, and you would be fine. Which is crazy. Whereas I don't really know what happened with all those saves, saving throws.
It's rude, really.
Yeah.
I had some great saving throws.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. So did the monsters.
I thought I'd fix the system by changing to my knives as well, and I had the one round where I hit a couple things, and then they also went to rolling the sub 5s, and I was like, cool. Yeah,
it's just it's one of those days, I guess.
Yep. So I just got up into a corner and cried.
But I do sort of find like a lot of the time when stuff like that happens, it's like you can have 3 really good sessions in a row, and then just one session where everything just misses, everything just the die just won't play along with you, and it's weird.
Not interested.
It's weird how
I do not want to know.
Yeah. One thing that I really loved though was Strix's spellcasting, aka Adam's descriptions of what he was doing.
Those were really cool. I loved them.
It was so creepy.
Which is,
I was about to say, it's cool the word we're using for that, or
I mean, out of character, so cool. In character, who did we bring with us?
Yeah, that's really right.
Just go.
Cool, yeah.
Imagine what he could do if he had a mech gun.
honestly. Like, maybe I definitely don't want him in these buckets.
I mean, that's also a good point that we missed from the start of the episode, which is the second we allowed him some sort of power, he immediately summoned the biggest, most attention-seeking spell he could possibly use in his arsenal, with an unnatural lightning bolt. So that was great as well. That was just awesome.
I mean, if you need to test if things work,
Go big or go home.
Yeah.
I don't trust him. Which is, I'm saying that about Strix, but I'm leaning towards also Adam now as well. I'm like, I don't trust you. Let me go black what the fuck?
I love the way Adam plays Strix. Like,
Yes.
so good, so creepy, so like unnerving. Like my character, like Neza, is like, we're a bit weird, and me, I'm like, this is really weird.
But he's also really cute because he has his zombies that he loves. I was not prepared for that. Just looking back, that he was like, "Don't kill my zombies, I love them." But what?
Yep.
Again, I don't know if cute is the word we should be using for this. I don't know. Like, the more of Strix's character I learn about, the more I'm like, you're not a cute owl. You are unhinged on a odd degree.
Yeah, owls aren't cute though. Like, they're terrifying creatures.
Have you seen the pictures of people who lift their feathers up? How long their legs go on for?
Super long legs. Have you seen the ones where like they're wet? They look like they're going to come and murder you in your sleep. They might not even wait until you're asleep.
And that's exactly what Adam told me when he was describing his character to me was.
Sorry, Rik has just seen it. That was amazing.
I love that reaction. No, Adam did say that owls are actually heavy metal as fuck. Is the direct quote, not even paraphrasing.
Amazing.
And I think that's what he wanted to capture in Strix, and I guess he has succeeded so far.
Oh, he has. Mm-hmm. You have to put Strix through a waterfall after seeing these images at some point.
Just a downpour.
Inside the cave. I don't care. Just make it happen.
The whole party just goes, ah!
Oh my god.
So,
I'm sorry. Let me close that window because I'm going to get very distracted otherwise.
Perfectly fine. So, any other favorite moments that we have missed from this episode, or have we been through everything?
Obviously, the very ending, the cliffhanger ending that we had of someone clearly meeting Wartam. Or at least it sounds like it's Wartam. You didn't say Wartam.
I did say I did use his name.
Oh, did you say? Okay, cool,
yes,
brilliant.
Yes.
Okay, I missed that. My bad.
Yeah.
But he's making a friend with someone else, and Danny said right at the end that you were like, "I know who that is, but I'm not going to say anything." And I feel like this is the perfect opportunity to tell us who you think it is.
Do you want me to say who I think it is?
Yeah, I want to know what's going around your head.
I think it's Coxie.
Who's
the person that Auburn saved twice?
Oh yeah, they did say that they were useless, didn't they? They felt
They
useless.
said they got into keep getting into trouble.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but it sounds like they sought Wartam out, not the other way around.
Mm-hmm. I think it's the person, and I don't think it's the same person. I don't think it's them, but that ran over and got us for help for the pregnant lady.
She's an elf.
Lyra.
Lyra, yes.
Yeah, she's an elf.
She's an elf, and it was a human.
It was a human.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Coxie is a human.
Interesting.
And the pregnant lady was also elf.
I think so
as well.
I just
Yes.
grabbed a random
Yeah.
species.
Yeah. Okay, we can forget about the pregnant lady. She's not important.
It's her baby.
I just keep getting into trouble.
Yeah, no, could be Caxi. I didn't think of that at all, but yeah, could be. At
least that makes sense for me, because he was almost killed flying out of the portal, and he was almost killed by spiders. And he also knew where the spiders were.
But how would he be able to like communicate with Wortham?
Maybe Wharton just knows. Or was watching.
Maybe.
He does work in like sneaky, mysterious ways. So, for all we know, like he could have sensed like their, desperation, and he did that with Benjamin, right? Benjamin just was thinking about wanting a friend, and that was enough for Wharton to be able to manipulate. Is that the right word? I don't know, but
True.
Converse. Come on, might be so.
I think maybe we could be seeing Wharton like recruiting people from the camp, for, like his own little cult or something.
Which again I don't like.
We're not supposed to like Wharton.
I'm doing everything I can to make him very likable. Whoa, okay, something happened behind Danny.
Everything's okay.
Was my wife.
Is she okay?
She's fine.
Okay. So
you want us to like Wortham?
Yeah, he's like such a great guy. I'm doing everything I can.
He's just misunderstood.
Exactly.
He's never had a friend. He doesn't know how.
He ain't never had a friend like him.
I crushed that karaoke.
You did. It was awesome.
Thank you.
It's one of my songs as well.
My character that I play D&D with Marty and Leonard, with who is the Warlock of the Genie, used that very phrase, "You've never had a friend like me," to this, and no one noticed. No one noticed.
Speaking of awesome Aladdin references, completely sidetracked. There is in Team Fortress 2, there's a dagger called the Eternal Reward, and it took me forever to realize that was a reference to Aladdin for when Jafar is like holding the dagger and goes, "Your eternal reward," to stab Aladdin. Took me far too long to realize what that was.
All right. One quick thing that we can talk about here towards the end was how did you feel about having something like this, like a cliffhanger that happens somewhere else? Because I know that there's like Camp A and Camp B. One camp is like, oh, if you weren't there, then you as the players wouldn't know, and then there's the other camp who's like thinking these type of things awesome. How do you feel about this small thing happening outside, away from you?
I like it. I think it's good. I personally like, as long as you're understanding of that, and as a player, you don't use that in a metagamey way and be like, "Oh, I'm just going to go to this outlet, this little enclosure." I think it's fine. I think it's world building, right? It's an understanding of what's going on in the wider world, so that we as players understand it, but our characters don't. And I think if you can't distinguish the two of them, then that's the problem, not that other things are happening that you're kind of being made aware of.
I think it would be dangerous to do to new players, because they would definitely metagame it, but experienced players would just say, "My character doesn't know this," and then keep playing.
I agree. I think, like, as a player, I think it's really, really, really cool. And I was not expecting it at all. It was like a Marvel end scene. I was like, oh, what's happening? This is so cool. But, like, I also know that Neza has no idea. And I am remarkably good at my characters being totally oblivious to things in game that don't happen to her, because I don't actually pay attention to anything else. So it's great.
Awesome.
I kind of like that aspect, though. I like knowing something that my character doesn't, because I like the potential of my character wandering into something that they're not even aware of, and I'm like, "You're in danger. You don't know. I do. You don't know, but I do." Like, I think that's kind of an awesome aspect to have within any D&D game.
I think it's so cool.
Yeah, it's also the thing about playing Auburn, at least for the first part, is that I knew I was going to take decisions that would be working against the party, and that is exactly what this is, because I as a player think it's Carxi, so I could be going, "Nah, I'm not gonna talk to Carxi or do anything because I don't trust him," but obviously Auburn trusts Cox. He saved him twice. He's just a kid.
Yeah. But I think as well it helps with player choices in the sense that you can have those feelings, you can have those thoughts and stuff like that, and if for some reason Marty decides to put Coxie in front of you, that will help you kind of go, oh, maybe I'm actually gonna make that interaction, maybe it's the thread that Marty's pulling. I don't think that's technically metagaming for me, because like the GM, if you had gone like we'd gone back to the camp and you'd said, right, I'm gonna go talk to Coxie for literally no reason whatsoever, then that I think is metagaming. But if Marty then like starts throwing some seeds on the floor, it's like, okay, I can pick this up, maybe this is a trail that leads to something interesting. And I think that's important, because especially when you're improvising in the middle of a session, it can be hard sometimes to understand what Marty wants without them going, right, okay, I've put you in a corridor, there are no doors, that at the end there is the goal, and if you diverge, then I'm literally going to immediately murder your character. Like, because some people do that. That's how some people DM their games, because they want you to understand the story, but that's kind of really forced, unfun storytelling.
I've definitely been in a game like that. I didn't have fun.
Me too. I hate it. Yeah, I hate it. There was I've been in a game where we were using Foundry. This was a couple of years back, and the map that they were putting on, the maps that they were creating, were literally just corridors. And I was like, what's the point of the maps? Like, literally don't need them. It's just open this door, walk straight forward, and do that 7 times over. And yeah, I don't find them too fun. But I think this is a better way of doing that.
Definitely.
Awesome. Because it's something that I didn't really think too much about when I started out either, that's something you can do. But then I think it was Abria Irongar who did it on Dimension 20. They had like a kids and brooms, so they had made like a story, 4-episode long story, where it's basically Harry Potter, but it's not. And they take out the piss on the universe, and it's so amazing to watch. And she did that quite a few times, where something happened, and she was just like, yeah, and your characters don't know that. And I just remember one of the players is Brandon Lee Mulligan, who went completely crazy. He's like, my I don't notice that. He was like so taken away by it that's something you can do. And I mean, I think you do that in movies as well. Usually you see the story from the hero's point of view, but you do sometimes to see other things happening, just to get some what's happening in this world, what's happening in the story. So it's such a, I genuinely like in storytelling, in obviously probably not so much, actually no, I completely lie, it's heavily used in books as well. Like you'll have just like end of chapters have like a few paragraphs of something that is completely like not happening within the realms of what your characters are seeing. You have it in films all the time. You have those like little, as Amanda's already said, you have those like Marvel type endings that can sometimes be completely irrelevant. It can be like on the bad guy side, so none of the heroes would have seen it. It's important for the audience, and as actors we are technically the audience when we're not playing our characters as well, right? It's important, but that I think that's a really important and effective story hook, and way of telling just any sort of media. I think it's quite effective. So yeah, I don't understand why people would be anti that. It's very common.
It's like in the end of the first session, you had all of us take our headphones out so that you could talk to Benjamin, and I still haven't gone back and listened to that, because I'm like, me neither. That didn't happen to my character. Like I don't know what happened in that moment, so like I haven't even indulged my curiosity, which like if you know me, that's
a big thing. Are you still sitting still?
Maybe you should watch it right now.
Yeah, no. Let's all go watch it together.
Wouldn't you like to?
You want to know what happened?
I would.
That's another thing where I'm a little bit, I can't figure out if I like that or if I don't like it, because sure, I think it can be fun because your characters don't know what's going on. On the other hand, it can also just be something like you didn't get to see that performance if it was a good performance, and I think that kind of would also be a little bit sad to take that away from you as a player. So I can't really figure out it. I think it's a balance.
I think you can use both because whenever you do something like saying to us we take off our headphones and we don't get to listen, I expect to be surprised by something then further down the line, and not just I never get to figure out what that was.
Yeah, I like it. One of my other DMs uses it quite often. Like he pulls one or two players into like a private conversation. And something happens and then they come back and it's like all secretive or something like happens right away or like not, but like I genuinely really like that element because I'm like, oh, what's going on, what happened? Is she okay?
Is she okay?
She's being a bit derpy today.
I agree.
Like it.
Yeah, 100% of my D&D is done online now, and in kind of like the long running game, the DM very often like some things will happen, and he'll like, okay, I'm just going to send this person like a quick DM because this thing happened, and if they want to share it with someone, although they do have a rule as well, which is if they hoard information for too long and they don't share it with the group, after a while he will just tell us because he's like, that's not what. He's not about. It's not supposed to be about like hoarding information for one character. He wants us to be working as a team, kind of thing. But he does it because there's like it gives us a moment as actors playing a game to, give that information out. Especially if that's the natural way someone would have got it. Is that one person would have got it in a particular way that no one else would have heard or seen. Then it gives us a reason to go, right. Okay, I'm gonna bring this into the rest of the group, and it gives us a chance to have those kind of like role play moments. So I think if it's done correctly and it's done respectfully, I think it's like a super effective method. But you're right, sometimes it can, there are times and places, and also people, like some people will happen to that and they'll just hoard that information and they'll never tell anyone else because they want their glorious like reveal moment, and it's like, that's not like why we're playing. Like, it's not for you to have a moment, it's for us to create like an awesome story for all of us together, kind of thing.
Yeah, I once gave one of my players in our private game a letter, and he read it and he was actually like, yep, that's fine, now I have this letter, and then just sat on it for 5-6 sessions or something like that.
Jesus.
And I was just
Might have been more.
And I was just like, okay, interesting, we're still not getting to this bit, but then actually when we finally did, it created a completely different moment than what I had in mind, but I think it was a good moment, where Amanda's character Revine found out that her dad is actually not dead, and so I think that is one of those cases where it was giving to the right player, even though I, as the DM, was like, what is he doing? Why is he not doing anything with this information? But I think that in that case, it turned out brilliantly.
I had a moment when I last DM'd 2 weeks ago where I used both, where two of the players were struck by madness and the other two just had a weird feeling, but then the other two, I just held the book up and had them roll randomly and says, you have to act on this now, to them. And they just started doing it without saying anything, just started doing weird stuff and being weird. And the other two players were like, what the fuck is going on?
It's amazing.
And then at the very end, a player who had a patron did something that he hadn't told the other players about anything. And I just revealed that someone, only to him, that the others couldn't see him, that someone was watching him from the shadows approvingly. So the others knew that the stuff he's been doing that was also kind of weird is for some reason now. so I did both, and it can work if you trust the players to not immediately says, I've been struck by madness and now I have to do this.
Right.
Yeah, when the DM like plants a seed, or something has to be done and the other players don't know it, but like one does, and you're just like, what? It's like in our private game, Marty replaced one of the players with a doppelganger and like had him interacting totally normally with everybody else, and like we were supposed to try to figure it out, but we didn't because didn't catch on. I mean, I was in a jail cell. I feel like I'm totally excused here. I had like one interaction. But like it was a really interesting moment with that reveal of like, holy shit, that wasn't
for the past 2 sessions you haven't actually played with that character. He was a doppelganger, and that player, Michael, he did it so well. He changed the small things about his, things that the doppelganger wouldn't know, but that the players would know. But obviously the players don't think anything is amiss, so they don't really pay attention to those small, deviations. But me as the DM, I was just sitting there and just having the time of my life because because to me it was so obvious. He's not acting normal. Why you're not reacting to it? It's brilliant. I love it.
In the end, they're all just going to be doppelgangers, and it's going to be the big reveal like that Spider-Man meme where they're all pointing at each other.
definitely.
No. All right. Just before we end, any thoughts about upcoming sessions? What's going to happen? Stuff you might want to happen? Anything in that area?
I think that we might get to meet the goblins for real, like the tribe.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
What's left of them?
Oh, you went there. That's so sad. Wow.
It's literally just Or now.
Yeah.
Or in the one that we rescued.
We'll kill him. Just to be sure.
Strix needs more bodies.
He's clearly been corrupted. I'm sorry.
No, yeah, I think meeting the goblins would be good. I'm interested to see if anything happens. Again, talking as me, not as Arlene here. Interested to see if anything has like changed at the camp when we get back. Given that we know that Wharton is kind of, at least we know of one thing. Who knows? Wharton could be talking to other people as well. For all we know, and given that the people are getting quite desperate, it'll be interesting to see if anything else changes. Also, we're clearly getting more powerful and other people aren't. They aren't getting their kind of powers back and whatnot. And we're going to have to potentially try and hide that. Not necessarily hide it, but maybe explain it away in some way. I was about to say, given that we have been quite open about not having the things that we used to have, but actually that's mainly Arlene. Everyone else has held their cards quite close to their chest on that one, but Arlene has been very vocal about the fact that
I think Auburn said that he couldn't do as well as he used to.
Yeah. I'm talking more on like a level of like with the civilians.
Yeah.
Arlene has been like quite vocal with
knows.
people, outside of the group about the fact that he is not capable of doing things, and now he is capable of doing them. And so I'm going to have to figure that one out somehow, and I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to do that yet. And I feel like Marty's just asshole enough to make a problem for me. So
True.
Just a second, just need to write some notes somewhere.
You're the only one capable of healing. You can never leave the camp again. Everyone
literally. It was nice being able to heal people again and be relatively.
It was nice to be saved. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So you're not useless, because Nessa might really have died if you weren't there. Auburn could do nothing about that other than kill the monsters.
Which is, it's great. And then obviously the great part where everyone just rushed in without me. That was also fun. I was just left behind, like trying to stumble my way. Not through the dark, I have dark vision, but trying to figure out what the hell had happened. Why Auburn had ripped his horns out of the wall, and why Neza was just laying on the ground dead. Very confused by everything. So yeah.
All right. I think that was it. I think that's all we had. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. If you have any questions to any of us or what's going on in the campaign, you can do that over at our Twitter at Crowded Tavern, or you can also join our Discord at geekherring.com/Discord. You can also find all the links at thecrowdedtavern.com. Amanda, you got anything to add?
If you like what you hear, don't forget to like and subscribe. I feel like such a YouTuber saying that. Like and subscribe.
Click here or here. I don't know.
Wherever it is, click that button. And or follow us on your podcatcher of choice. And if you want to give us a review, that would not go amiss. Thank you.
All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks for having us.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.